welcome to today's episode of Heard and Seen Around. I am Rajesh Karipurath. This is my take on macroeconomic and geoeconomic data points, which I find interesting. I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed curating it. Cheers.
Life doesn't come with an instruction manual. It comes with people who didn't read theirs either. They say money can't buy happiness. True, but have you ever seen someone frown on a yacht? Work-life balance is when your boss thinks you're working and your family thinks you're home. They say markets are efficient. So is a blender, it still makes a mess before settling down. The budget deficit is like a diet, everyone swears they'll fix it after the next big meal.
This chart is the financial equivalent of two couples going in very different directions. From late 2024 to mid 2025, crypto and precious metals were moving together like mildly competitive siblings. But come August, full-blown separation. Gold and silver, in pink and yellow, suddenly decided that they are the grown-ups in the room, rallying hard on falling real yields, central bank buying and geopolitical jitters. Meanwhile, Bitcoin and Ethereum, the white and green lines, behaved like tech stocks that did not get the memo. Like Yogi Berra said, in theory and practice are the same. In practice, they are not. Take a look at this chart and you will notice something remarkable. China did not just lead solar manufacturing, it practically monopolized the sunlight. Since 2010, China has produced nearly 3/4 of all solar PV modules worldwide. Everyone else is that small grey bar politely trying to keep up. What's driving it? Massive industrial policy, scale that no one can match, and supply chains so integrated that they make IKEA instruction manuals look simple. This chart from the International Energy Agency is basically the oil market saying, I brought extra, did anyone else? By 2026, we are looking at an oversupply of almost 4 million barrels per day, one of the chunkiest gluts in years. Supply, shown in light blue, keeps climbing like it just found pre-workout. Demand in yellow is growing, but only in the polite slow motion way that makes producers very nervous. And those steel bars, they show inventory swelling again, the classic sign of a market where barrels are showing up early and uninvited. Like Mavis said, too much of a good thing can be wonderful, at least in the case of India. This chart is a great snapshot how India's PLI scheme is actually playing out. And let's just say some sectors came up with protein shakes and others showed up with cold coffee. Electronics and IT hardware are the undisputed champions, pulling in 52,000 crores. Automobiles and auto components take the silver medal with 41,000 crores. EVs and supply chains clearly doing the heavy lifting. Pharma clocks in next at 30,500 crores, followed by textiles and white goods in the mid-tier. And at the bottom, ACC battery storage is still warming up with just 1,800 crores. A little ironic, considering that batteries are supposed to have energy. This table is a masterclass in why multi-asset investing often feels boring and why that's exactly the point. Across countries, equities deliver the big shiny headline returns, double digits for India, strong numbers for emerging markets. But look at the last two columns, the standard deviation. In India, equities gave 12.7% returns, but with 21.3% volatility. Multi-asset, 12.8% returns, basically the same, but the volatility drops to 11.4%. That's half the emotional damage for the same money. This pattern repeats everywhere: China, Thailand, Pakistan, Japan, UK. Multi-asset returns are competitive, but the ride is smoother. The only oddball here is the US, where equities still outperform. Like Warren Buffett said, it's not about timing the market, but time in the market. There is a fascinating split in the global cloud and AI race. On the left, the US hyperscalers, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Meta, are spending money like it's going out of fashion. Capex shoots from $157 billion in 2022 to a projected $685 billion by 2027. That's not investment. That's really huge. On the right, look at China's giants. Alibaba and Tencent are spending far less in absolute terms, tens of billions instead of hundreds, but they are accelerating. Alibaba goes from $5 billion to $25 billion, and Tencent from $2 billion to $18 billion. And here's the twist. Despite this massive capex gap, Chinese AI model development isn't trailing far behind. Why? Economy, focused compute, and the ability to deploy models at scale across enormous domestic ecosystems. Like Mark Twain said, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. This is the story of our times. Economic gravity is shifting, and not subtly. For 3 decades, the G7's share of global GDP on PPP terms, has been sliding like a tired blue line on a treadmill. Meanwhile, BRICS has been climbing steadily, powered by China and now India's expanding engine rooms. By the late 2020s, BRICS is on track to overtake the G7, something unthinkable 20 years ago. And the fundamentals behind this shift? The G7 is carrying debt ratios north of 120%, aging populations, and a growth model tied to elevated asset prices. BRICS, on the other hand, runs with half the debt load, younger workforces, cheaper energy, and investment-heavy growth. Add in their growing interest in gold-backed financial buffers, and the picture becomes even clearer. The West is fighting gravity, the East is riding momentum. India isn't just buying gold anymore, or rather physical gold anymore, it's hoarding it through ETFs like never before. In the first 10 months of 2025 alone, inflows hit $2.9 billion, that's roughly 26 tons of gold. And to put that into perspective, that's almost equal to everything that came in from 2020 to 2024 combined. And the momentum is insane. September saw a record $942 million, followed immediately by $850 million in October. As a result, the total AUM in gold ETFs has smashed through $11 billion, with holdings at 83.5 tons, an all-time high.